Welcome back to episode 2 of the Fire Red Nuzlock. In the last episode, we made ourselves all the way to Pewter City, beat Rock, the gym leader, and picked up an extra friend along the way. In today's episode, we'll figure it out. My goal is to beat Misty, but we'll see how far we make it through Mount Moon. And we should have a few encounters along the way to add Pokemon to the party. Comment down below what you want them named, or maybe something that you're hoping to find along this journey. Moving outside of Pewter City, there are 5 trainers immediately, but more importantly, we make it to round 3, which means that there's another encounter. So after we whoop on these trainers a little bit, we finally run into the third Pokemon of our party, a Scizor. Another absolute unit from this randomizer. I almost can't believe it. First it was the Umbreon, then something that we killed, I can't remember, and now moving on to a Scizor. Usually I don't even get a Scizor in my normal gameplays, let alone a randomizer. But as you did see in the last clip, unfortunately, we must lay to rest one of our most valuable prizes, fighters, most valuable MVPs of our team, the Umbreon. Sadly, we must put the Umbreon back in the box permanently. We have received our first fallen soldier. After placing the Umbreon back in the box, we move ourselves to Route 4, which kind of is funny because I thought there was going to be an encounter here, but there was just a couple people to talk to in a Pokemon Center. But it is time to enter Mount Moon. Now, in the normal game, Mount Moon is usually where you get your Clefairies, your Moonstones, your Fossil, everything. But in the randomized version, you kinda just get Whiscaches, which is our next encounter. Our Mount Moon encounter is the Whiscache. But I kinda took a breakfast break in between, forgot what I was doing, and I absolutely murked it. So we're just gonna kind of speed run through the rest of Mount Moon because there's not really much, just a few items here and there, but primarily just killing a lot of Whiscaches, getting the Charmeleon and the Scizor kind of up the level for the next gym fight, but primarily not much happens in Mount Moon. After beating Super Nerd Miguel, we have to make a super hard decision. Do we want Ammonite or do we want Kabuto? I'm actually not sure whether or not these are actually going to be Ammonite and Kabuto, so I just chose a random one, and now we're going to make our way out of Mount Moon. After making it out of the ghastly cave, I realized that we're now at Route 4, which means encounter time, and who better to run into than Tallow. Now I know it's a lackluster encounter, but it's a flyer, which means that we can go anywhere in the map. I'm not really sure if you could ride Charmeleon. Well, I guess you could ride Charizard, so I guess it really doesn't matter. Well, it's dead anyway. But dead birds aside, I figure after a quick healing we should go inside of the gym just to kind of see what's going on, see how the randomizer is working, whether or not they actually have water types, and I realized that the Scizor is level 9 at this point and their Goldeen is level 16. So what better way than to cue a training montage? After about 15 minutes, getting Scizor all the way up to level 22 and even learning False Swipe in that time, it is time to fight Misty. With 2 level 20 plus Pokemon, I don't think that it really should be much of a challenge, but you never know what she's going to have. I mean, coming out with the Vibrava on the very first Pokemon is kind of scary, but I think that we're going to be able to mop the floor with her just fine. And now that Vibrava is finally taken down, it is time for our ace against hers. Our Charmeleon against her Xatu. And coming out swinging, we have the Ember versus Leer showdown. We get our second our second Ember off, and that Xatu is already burnt, but unfortunately because of the burn, it drops her into the red, which leads her to use a Hyper Potion. But luckily for us, an Ember does take about half the health with the burn, so we are able to sweep her with just our ace, probably, but having a level 22 Scizor sure does help.